All right, everybody, what is going on? Good late afternoon. We got to clean up a little bit here. We got a little bit more left to do with the tight ends. I know we're back in the back half of the third day now. We are into round 6 level prospects, so things are getting a little bit thin. And I know that the tight end position is not one that we as Seahawks fans are invested in anyway, but while we're here, let's get into it. So, gonna go quick. I know that you guys are not going to be super locked in on this, but 6th round tight end starting with Dallen Bentley of Utah, a Utah tight end. This video is sponsored by Prize Picks. More on them in a moment. 24 years old when the season starts. He's got decent size. He's got workable size, over 250, over 33-inch arms, and it might be more like 33 and a half because of the whatever the combine was doing this year, and he tested quite well. So you've got some movement skills, you've got some speed, and you've got legitimate tight end size. So we do see a couple big boards that have him in the 5th, but the aggregate does put him in the 6th. He only has 1 year of production, and that's part of the issue here. He had a really good year, 50 catches, 620 yards, 6 touchdowns, but Bentley was not necessarily established commodity before this year. He's good at reading zone defense and finding the hole. He's good at sitting down in the hole, waiting for the ball to come to him. Provides that safety valve for the quarterback. He can get it done as a blocker. He's a decent blocker, maybe not a great one, but he can block. And his length allows him to have a big catch radius. You can throw an inaccurate ball and he can still go get it because he has that big reach. And he's got pretty good hands. He doesn't drop a lot. So there's plenty to like with Bentley, actually. Now, he is a little bit more of a finesse player at times. He gets bullied a little bit at the catch point. If he's in tight coverage, he's usually not going to win. He struggles to break open from coverage. Like if you put man on him, he doesn't run good enough routes to get open, even though he's pretty fast. There is some stuff he needs to get better with as a blocker. The technique is not all there yet. At the end of the day, even though he's got decent speed, it feels like he's a possession receiver only, not really a downfield threat, just a guy to move the chains. So the blocking upside is kind of nice, but he's 24 years old. How much better is he going to get? There's not a lot here, so 5th-round target. I'd put him in the 5th, I think. I kind of like the fact that he's versatile, but it's not enough. Will Kacmarek of Ohio State. Will Kacmarek of Ohio State, another Ohio State tight end, 23. He's got size. He's actually quite big, 260. Arms are not super short, but they're a little short. So he's got a little bit of that going for him. He's bigger than most of these guys. Not a great speedster, but he does have some explosiveness, so that's nice. Big boards, we got some 4th, we got some 5th, but the aggregate puts him in the 6th. PFF has him down almost close to 400. Not a ton of production, right? Like he has less than 40 catches combined over his last 2 years of full play. 2024, he barely played. About 400 yards over the last 2 years he's actually played, so not really a big receiving threat. But there is some good stuff here with him. He's got the willingness and the strength to run block. So this is another guy who's going to give you a little something as a blocker, and he's got the size for it. He can play in line effectively. He's not just a slot receiver, so there's stuff to like there. On simple throws, on the short throws that are just kind of right in front of him, he's got no problem. He gets it done, and he can make tough catches. So he can haul in the contested catches pretty well. Do you like sports? If you do, then the best way to make them even better and more exciting is using Prize Picks, where it always feels good to be right. Prize Picks makes daily fantasy simple. Just pick more or less on your favorite players' projections and build lineups with a few taps. Whatever sport you're into, Prize Picks gives you a fun way to stay locked in while you're watching. I've had a great time using Prize Picks so far. It makes this daily fantasy thing so easy and fun, and it even makes watching the games way more exciting. And with the cool social feeds feature, you can share lineups with your friends and even follow partners to tail or fade their picks. Obviously, we're in the NFL offseason right now, but we've got basketball, baseball, hockey, all kinds of other stuff, so don't be afraid to test things out in whatever sport clicks with you. You can even pick multiple sports in the same lineup and sweat everything at once. And don't forget about team picks, where you can pick winners, spreads, and totals on any major game. So, download Prize Picks, America's #1 sports app. And don't forget, Code HMA, that is HMA, gives you $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize picks. It's good to be right. And remember, always gamble responsibly. All right, so that's the good stuff with Kacmarek. The bad stuff, he's tall, so he loses leverage as a blocker sometimes. He plays up too high, needs to learn how to sink. Slow release getting into his routes, not really a very effective route runner. He's not really a good athlete, even by relatively low standards. He's got a 1-7, 10-yard split. That's kind of an issue. That's like offensive line crap. So that's a problem. So players like this are kind of valuable. There just aren't that many run blocking big tight ends anymore, but even there, he's got to get better. He's still got work to do. And like, what's the best case scenario for him? He ends up Will Dissly, and that's the good case. And I mean, like, later career Will Dissly, not the first 2 years Will Dissly. So late 5th. I actually kind of like this skill set, maybe a little bit more than I probably should. Riley Nowalski? Nowakalski? We got some interesting names in the tight end class this year, guys. Indiana. Couldn't find his age. He is very, very short. He is one of the shortest tight ends I've ever seen. He is a 250-pounder, though, so he does have legitimate tight end size, so don't be completely fooled. Arms are very short, hands are very small, though, so he's kind of awkwardly built. Tested mixed, right? Like, the 40 is okay, but the 10-yard split's abysmal, and the jumps were pretty good. ESPN's the one big board that's kind of high on him. They have him in the 5th. Aggregate puts him in the 6th. Only had 1 year of production, and it still was under 400 yards, so it's not anything over the top, but he pretty good. Pretty good year for a first-year impact player. This is another guy who can block. So as we get later in this draft, we're actually finding guys that can get it done as a blocker. He's got good hands, and if you give him an opportunity to make a catch, he's probably going to make it, so he can be a possession guy. And his ability to fight for the ball in a contested catch situation is pretty notable. So Nowakalski is capable of doing basic good things. Now, he doesn't have the height advantage you would like with a tight end. He's very small in general, like I said, and there's not much getting around this man. He's got some very, very small elements to his physicalness. He doesn't break open very quickly. He's too slow. He doesn't have the quickness. He's ultimately just a possession receiver. That's really all I can say about him. So the arm length, the height, although the height is not bad when you're blocking, there's a lot going on here. So I go 7th round pick. This one just feels a little bit funky to me. I don't really think he's a especially good blocker. He's just okay. So you don't really have a lot to work with there, and you've also got the receiving issues. Final guy for this video is going to be John Michael Gyllenborg, another fun name. This guy was thought of pretty highly at one point, but he slipped all the way to like the late 6th, early 7th. So Gyllenborg of Wyoming, couldn't find his age. He is big. He's got some legitimate size. He's tall. He's almost 6'6". He's about 250, but his arms are extremely short. Again, now maybe they're a little bit longer than this, but they're still short. Does have decent sized hands. Tested well. He's athletic. Monster broad jump. Good 40. Like, there's some credible stuff here. Good 20-yard shuttle. Big boards. You can see that the Draft Network has some weird infatuation with him. They have him in the 2nd. Walter has him in the 4th. Aggregate puts him about the late 6th or early 7th. And you can kind of see why he slipped. He did not have the productive 2025 people were hoping. Less than half of his 2024 production. At least in terms of yards. He did make a similar number of catches, I guess, but that's a problem in and of itself. So when you're trying to talk yourself into Gyllenborg, you're mainly focusing on the athletic ability. Very good athlete. He's fast. He's quick. He's explosive. He can change direction. He there is some reason to believe that there's something here that didn't quite come out in college. He's very good with yak. He can use speed. He can use power to pick up yards after the catch. He should be able to line up in line and as a wide receiver and maybe even in the backfield. There's going to be some versatility to him. And when you put him in space, he can block. He can kind of do the lead blocking surrogate fullback stuff. Now, for whatever reason, 2025 was not kind to him. He did not put up numbers the way you would have expected. And That's something that he proved he could do in the past, and 2025 was supposed to be his big year, and it didn't happen. He's not really a good route runner yet. I think physically he could be, but right now he's not. You put him in line, maybe he can be a receiver from inline, but he can't block from inline very effectively. He does let catchable balls go by sometimes. It feels like he doesn't fight for the ball enough, and I kind of came away with the sense that even though he's got good size, he's more of a finesse player. He's somebody that just kind of wants to win with skill rather than grit and power. So this is kind of fun. I just don't know if it's going to mean anything. So I'll go 5th round. I'll go a little bit higher than the aggregate, but it seems to me somewhat unlikely that Gyllenborg becomes much of anything at the next level. I just don't really see it. And that'll do it for this video. That'll do it for the 6th round tight ends. We're going to do one more video later today, probably tonight. 7th round tight ends. There are a few of those. And we are then done with the position. We're going to do a few more eval videos, but in terms of like the meaningful position roundup, we are done. All right. Everyone have a great rest of your day. Go Hawks. See you guys soon.